This is season 4, and I am on a mission to help creatives become the most loved versions of themselves. I want to help you step into health in every single area of your life and pursue the authentic creative expression that you feel called to and that only you can. The world feels crazy right now, and we need healthy creatives more than ever. So let's get into it. I'm Courtney Lancaster, and this is the Heal Create podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Heal Create podcast. Hi, guys. I had an episode queued up for you last week, and we found out that my microphone was disconnected. I apologize for the missed episodes in March. There were some other things going on in March that I want to talk about, and one of them was this incredible opportunity that I had to speak for Gimme Beauty's Unlocking Potential conference in Dallas, Texas. We talked about authenticity, something we talk about here a lot, authenticity and emotionally sustainable creativity for artists and entrepreneurs and anyone trying to put something big out into the world, which is kind of what this whole, this little world that I've created is about, is emotionally and physically sustainable creativity. And my sustainability got tested and stretched, and my nervous system got stretched because this month was full of kind of some good news, bad news. I had a personal thing come up in my external world that kind of rocked my world. There were some circle the wagon moments of just tending to my people and myself. And I think that I heard somebody on Instagram just make, a very important announcement that which we've heard before, which was like, hey, just so you guys remember, Instagram is a highlight reel. Instagram is a highlight reel. And I've heard it, we've all heard it said a lot. And it's true. And of course it is. It made me think though, however, how sometimes, when we want to keep it from being a highlight reel, we share things that are happening right in the moment. I've heard it said that it's like speaking from the wound instead of speaking from the scar. And I feel really strongly about not speaking from the wound as it's happening. I think and even now, like the details of some of the things that came up in our life are private, and we're okay, and everything's okay. I mean, this is life stuff, especially on a healing journey when you are, committed to healing patterns and expanding and doing this work, and you're just a human that also experiences loss or disappointment or ruptures in relationships, sometimes really heavy things. They'll come up and they'll dysregulate you. But I feel really strongly that it's really honoring to myself, and it's going to be honoring to yourself if you keep details private that don't feel, like you necessarily want to share with everyone, and also not to share them until you have integrated, until you've processed, until you've been able to sit with what happened. And so that's kind of my own theory got tested this month, where I was like, okay, I need to take a break from posting so much, from speaking so much, and that's okay. We have time. There's no rush for any of this, even though, of course, a part of me, like all of us, felt like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? We're losing momentum. But it was okay, because it was just time to be still and to heal and find, quiet and reconnection. And that was really important. So I just want to encourage you all that it's not self-betrayal. It's not necessarily self-betrayal to post your highlights while you're going through something private. If you plan on sharing, later, that's fine too. But I think that maybe my more positive take on sharing highlights is that we are all trying to highlight the goodness. Our brains are, what is it? Good news is like Teflon, bad news is like Velcro. Like our brains are wired to disregard good news and good moments. And sometimes I think that social media has actually helped us. There's a lot of downsides to this. So this is not a blanket statement for all of the positive things that we see on social media. But sometimes I think that it has the potential of helping us focus on the good in our lives. And when we get into comparison, that is when we really, drown in the deep end. And that is not at all what we should be doing. And if you need a break, that's fine. And if you're one of a content creator that's also like committed to sharing the process in real time, and that does feel like your purpose and your mission and honoring, and you do feel like you have the nervous system capacity to do that, oh my God, beautiful, wonderful. We love that as well. I bring all this up because coming into April, I was coming into this theme of, I like preset out my themes, you guys probably know, for the whole school year. So the end of 2025 and the first half of 2026, to take every month to focus on a pillar of the healthy creative life. And this month of April, we are focusing fully on the body. And so it was so interesting to kind of go through a low in March and also a high in March and tend to my body all the way through. And I will say, it has not always been like this, but something that I am so, so proud to be able to say is that I was with myself the whole time. And that for somebody that has a history of like severe disassociation, I mean, like the extreme experience of dissociating, leaving my body, not on purpose, but because I had no safety in my body and I was totally derealized, totally depersonalized. The whole world felt like rubber. I couldn't even remember how I got places. I still tend to be a little spacey. I think it's kind of like a, creative, highly sensitive thing. And that's okay. But my desire to stay with my experience, no matter what is coming up, is something that I notice strengthens my capacity to do so all the time. And I love coming into this month for a lot of reasons. I feel so passionate about this for creatives, like out building a relationship with our body, because I was like trying to think of how to even say this because it almost feels too obvious to even state, but your body is your dreams. There's nothing you could dream about creating in this world, nothing you could put out into the world that you're not going to need your body for and that you're not going to want to be in your body for, ultimately. We all certainly know what it's like to, have a big moment happen and not feel present for it. And then we're like, gosh, why? I just felt like so distracted, or I felt so all over the place or whatever. And that is an experience that is an invitation to learn how to be with your own self through life more often. But it's also really common. And, if anything, at the end of the day, we can look at our bodies and we can notice our experience. Everything that we experience is how our body is reacting to the world around us. And we can know that it all makes perfect sense based on what we've been through. That's probably one of the most comforting statements that I can say to myself. It also is what enables me to connect to so many different people and so many different stories, even if I don't understand their exact experience and the details of their experience, because I'm not them. I know that the way that they're experiencing life makes perfect sense based on what they've been through. So when we're talking about building a relationship with our body, whether we are in a healing journey or we are moving towards creating something, and they are, obviously, as the title of this podcast suggests, they are often interlinked. We are going to want to build a relationship with our body. We're going to want to send cues of safety to our body to be able to show ourselves that we are safe to move forward in whatever it is. I remember reading a book about, I think it was about like a healing journey. And it was talking about how like, if we aren't taking really good care of our body and we're attempting to heal really big, unresolved trauma from our past, we're attempting to heal things that are in the way of what we want to create, then it's like going into a war with scissors. I don't love fighting language, but I did like that analogy because it does feel that way. If you're not taking care of your body, then the things that I think you might be otherwise able to manage in this healing journey, in this human experience in general, they feel completely overwhelming. I heard a nervous system uh, speaker on, excuse me, on Instagram who was like saying some of the most regulating things you can do for your nervous system are like sleep, exercise, and nutrition, like the basics. And so I want to talk a little bit about that today. I posted on Instagram a video and I titled, it was from a journal entry that I have that I wrote today. And I said, the body doesn't speak English. I can't remember who I heard say that. If you know, actually, and you want to let me know, text me, DM me, whatever. The body doesn't speak English. What that means is that you can't talk your way out of feeling scared. You can't talk yourself out of feeling overwhelmed. If you could, you wouldn't be overthinking. You wouldn't be here. I'm listening to this podcast. That is, you wouldn't be dead. You just wouldn't be like searching for healing. The truth is like we can't think our way out of pain. We also can't think our way into dreams coming true. Like we are in a body that we need to learn how to tend to, how to read the cues of, how to respond to those cues, and how to kind of gather intel as we go to every day, every season, sharpen our ability to be with our body. So I always like to say that your nervous system is like your baby. Your nervous system is what shows your body how to interact with the world. And we've talked so much about that here, but your nervous system is, we all have something in the back of our brainstem called neuroception, and it's constantly scanning the environment for either safety or danger. And how safe or in danger you are will cue your nervous system to prepare your body for how to interact with the world. A long-standing unresolved threat response stuck in your body, unresolved grief, unprocessed anger, that will basically keep you in a chronic stress state. And that will affect your health. It will affect, so many things. Obviously, we know. I'm kind of trying to give you like a sort of blanket view of why the nervous system and the body are like Velcroed together, best friends, one in the same in a way. And I always say your nervous system is your baby. I'm going to use that same wording, but I'm going to say your body is your baby in the way that when you have a baby, they cannot tell you what they need in words. You have to learn your baby. And sometimes my clients and myself, honestly, get so frustrated with my body or with my nervous system. So I'm like, oh, I just wish I could feel whatever, happy. I just wish I could feel connected. I wish I could feel present. I wish I could feel blah, 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 blah. And that's kind of the same as having a little baby that keeps crying. And you're just like, oh, I wish this baby would stop crying. Like, totally honest, totally fair sentiment. Does it actually help? No, it doesn't. The only thing that helps is paying attention to the cues that the baby is giving and like trying different things to see what actually helps, taking care of the basic needs as best as you can, and kind of gathering intel on like what works and what doesn't for the future. That's your body. So we want to take time this month, especially. I really want you maybe putting in like you know, reminder on your phone, like check in with my body and just doing a basic body scan. Maybe we'll do that together right now. Whatever you're doing, obviously, if you're driving, please eyes on the road. But if you're not, see if you can just, from the top of your head, begin scanning down your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your arms and hands, your core, your stomach, your legs, all the way down to your feet. And we're going to do that again. And this time I want you to notice any tightness, heaviness, any buzzing, anything, any sensations. So from the top of your head down, through your neck and shoulders, down through your chest and your core, through your legs. I notice a little bit of tightness in my chest as I say that. I'm still coming out of some grief from last month, and so I've noticed that sitting on my chest a little bit heavier some moments. I'm noticing kind of a fuzziness in my brain because I traveled last week and then we had a super busy weekend with a lot going on, and I'm still catching up on my rest. Your body doesn't speak in words, it speaks in sensation, and it hears in connection from yourself and from other people. So common translations of different sensations would be like, if you have a tight chest, you might be experiencing anxiety or self-protection. If you have a heavy fatigue, you might be noticing a need for sleep or rest or even boundaries. Even like putting up boundaries with people or with things that are trying to take attention or resources away from you, like scrolling or alcohol. If you have cravings, these could be emotional cravings or nutritional cravings. That would be worth a Google, actually, just kind of looking up what do some of the different cravings mean. I mean, we think our cravings are like super salty, super sweet, but a lot of times that can mean low iron or different vitamin deficiencies. You could also be like remembering the inventory of our emotional needs, which is like the need to be protected, the need to be valued, accepted, loved, understood, shown affection, the need to be played with, the need to know that you're enough. Like, are you feeling empty on any of those? Maybe all of those. I feel that way too sometimes. That makes a lot of sense. How can we give ourselves those needs? How can we fill those needs for ourselves or get them met in healthy ways? If you notice something is, there's tension in your shoulders or your back. That is like my number one place where I store stress. It's so interesting too, because I remember learning that like if you lift your shoulders a lot, there's actually a really interesting and self-protective evolutionary reason why. It's because when we were, out in the wilderness before the civilization that we live in now, we might have to protect ourselves from predators who might go for the jugular, that big blood vessel in your neck. If I'm not saying this right, please forgive me. So what is it? This like main artery. When you lift up your shoulders, it's because you're trying to protect that artery, because that's where life can be taken if it's punctured or, bit into. It's like an actual thing that you don't even really think about. And that's something I do a lot. All of those things all of those sensations tell a story. And I don't know exactly what those sensations are telling your body. It could be, it's different for every person. Your job is just to listen. And before you go thinking that like this is this perfect thing that you have to figure out, you need to know that you won't always know what they are. Like we don't always know why a baby's crying. Are they hungry? Are they tired? Are they colicky? Do they have gas? Do they want a pacifier or a stuffed animal? We don't know. And so we try different things, right? And we're like, well, this kind of worked this time, I guess. So maybe like we'll try that again next time. It might work, it might not. But there's no shame or discouragement of like, this baby is broken. Let's get a new baby. Or, oh my gosh, this baby's not going to grow up because I'm not tending to it. It's just this daily tending to the baby. And that's what I want you to do with your body, not in perfectionism, but just with this loving responsibility that you get to have because you have a body. And we listen to the sensations, we get super curious about them, and we also really take care of the basics. The basics being exercise, sleep, nutrition. Exercise, it was for somebody with, so I have a history of eating disorder back, this was, I don't know, 2015, 20 years ago. And I was like obsessed with weight loss and diet and exercise, and, worked with an intuitive eating specialist for a long time. Like it's like predates anything in my adult life in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years at least. But I remember like the resistance to exercise when I began to let go of, when my relationship with eating was a lot healthier. I was very protective of it. And I was very protective of like any societal or cultural norms or cultural expectations around women and our bodies and what we're supposed to do. And I like went through this season where I was like, nobody tell me what to do. Nobody tell me what to eat. Nobody tell me to exercise. Like, I'm just going to do whatever I wanted to do. And that was honestly a really important chapter in my life. And then I got to a point where there was so much that was resolved, and I recognized like, I learned a lot when I was doing, especially in the Fox method certification, like there's such a high emphasis on, it's literally called muscle music, of like, understanding how exercise completes a stress cycle. I mean, saves you money in therapy without you even having to think, you are completing stress cycles in your body just by exercising. Also there's just the overwhelming science that I don't have in front of me right now that just talks about like how important strength is for longevity. And because I begin to increase my own levels of deep self-value after, a lifetime of deep shame, I really valued my dreams and I wanted to be in a body that could hold them. So exercise became something that was really important, really beneficial for me, and something that I highly recommend engaging with, not from a standpoint of like, because this is what will get you accepted, or this is what will help you belong in a group, or this is what culture expects, but because it is so genuinely loving for your body. It's so incredibly helpful for your nervous system as well. Same with nutrition also, honestly. I think especially as a woman, I was very much against like any like nutrition advice because I have taken that way too far in my youth. But then just like exercise, I got to a point where I was like, okay, wait, but there are foods that make me feel better. And there are foods that make me feel worse. Like how interesting. Like, what should I do with all of this? And then sleep was massively, massively impacted when I went through my anxiety and depression 10 years ago when I was in postpartum. Like I remember being really anxious about sleep. And that is something that's very healable as well. There's so much like amazing, encouraging, helpful things that you can do even with your nervous system when it comes to sleep. And these are the basics: sleep, nutrition, and exercise. And that is, of course, assuming the truth that not all of us live in, which is that we are privileged to have shelter and be connected, at least in one way or the other, to resources and other people. I actually have my brother-in-law is coming. My brother-in-law is coming. I actually am so excited because I've known him since he was 12 years old. I knew him before I knew my husband. He is my husband's little brother, Dr. Reed Lancaster. And he is just like such a wonderfully wise, as his big sister. I'm like always like, stop being such a dork. But he is actually incredible. He has such a meaningful relationship with self-care and with caring for the body. And I am so excited to have him on. And we're going to and he was like, what do you want me to talk about? I'm like, you have to think of creatives as like these people who like to just live in outer space. We are so in our head. We're so in dreamland. We are overthinking. For a lot of different reasons, but we really are like either in fantasy or we're in self-doubt and insecurity, like so in our heads. We actually like get really overwhelmed by all of the information around taking care of our body. And so he's going to come on and talk about being in our body, and what the basics of self-care are, what to look for, what to ask for in labs, and even like what to think about when it comes to basic self-care. I also have Andi Kolber, dear, amazing, incredible Andi Kolber. She is just a sister out there doing the things. She has a book. She has Try Softer. She also has a book called Strong Like Water. Strong Like Water is just so incredibly beautiful. And in the podcast that I have with her, there's a story that she tells about her kids, about how she's always inviting her kids to check in with their bodies. And she talks about how in the Bible, in Genesis, about how God asks Adam and Eve, "Where are you?" And she asks her kids the same thing, but in the way of wanting them to pay attention to where their needs are at. So like, she'll be like, I can't remember what her names are, but she'll be like, okay, where are you right now, son? Like, do you need water? Are you dehydrated? Are you tired? Like, where are your needs at? How is your body feeling? What's going on with you? Where are you? And it was such a beautiful way to think about, God, love, like inviting us from the beginning to check in, like, where are we? And I know that there's obviously, that's not the original interpretation of that story, but I loved the connection because that is the question that we want to keep asking ourselves every day, just like with the baby. Okay, what does this baby need now? What does this baby need now? And the relationship improves so much with yourself. You grow in so much self-trust when you ask yourself this. I also have Whitney. Oh my gosh, I am in love with her. You guys are going to fall in love with her as well. She's an embodiment, meaningful. We've done some retreats together. She's a meaningful, just such another woman who is trying to teach women how to feel safe in their bodies. And I'm excited to have her on. And that's what this month is going to be about. Learning the language of your body, understanding that, your body is your baby. Your body is also your dreams. There is no disconnecting your dreams from your body. If you care about the things that light you up, and I hope that you do, because you embodying you are who you hope you are. You embodying the version of you that you hold in your heart that you've always hoped that you are is what will heal this world. I feel like that's such a big statement, and I really do believe it. Your body is also your story. My husband's reading this book right now called It Didn't Start With You. And man, has it introduced this entire new complexity to the healing journey, which it's basically about how some of the traumas that our moms and dads and our grandparents and our ancestors experienced, exactly why they got passed down to us, how you can be grieving in your body abuse that you yourself didn't experience, but that somebody in the line before you did. And my takeaway from that discovery and that idea is that you actually don't have to know. You do not have to know everything that that has happened to you in order to heal it. And as a matter of fact, you actually can't know. There's so much we'll never be able to time travel. We'll never be able to go back into history and see exactly what happened every second that our bodies and spirits were involved, ever. And that to me shows what I think the real healing journey is about, which is just staying with your body, showing yourself compassion no matter what. If you could only heal by understanding and knowing everything bad that ever happened to you and resolving it every single time, first of all, you would spend your entire life pursuing that goal. And second of all, you wouldn't actually get to living. You wouldn't actually get to dreaming. A side note too is that anytime you have a healing experience, it builds on itself. Anytime you have a big resolve, I don't know why, it just makes me emotional. Every time you resolve a really painful memory, you renegotiate trauma from your past with support if needed. All of your traumas heal a little bit over time. This is the work of Bessel van der Kolk and Gabor Mate. You don't have to know everything that happens. We just want to commit to tending to ourselves, and whatever big thing in us asks to be healed, if we can be with that and resolve it, all of the little or big traumas that we've experienced in our life across our timeline heal a little bit as a result. Such good news. Literally the whole game is staying with your body, no matter what, with compassion, learning your body, committing to understanding the language of your body, and also knowing that in the process of doing that, you're not going to reach an end. It's not like you have to do this before you achieve your goals or before you achieve your dreams. You want to do it in tandem as you're moving forward, taking baby steps forward. That is living. And it's messy. It's freaking messy. And that's okay, because that's what being human is. So we have some great episodes coming for you. I also am posting and sending some newsletters. You can get on my newsletter list at my website, courtneylancaster.co. You can also book a discovery call if you're looking to heal what's in the way of some of the dreams that you have and really look at some of the things that keep you stuck and commit to a journey of understanding your own nervous system and your own body. Book a discovery call with me if you want to work with me as a coach. I also have a lot of great resources there for you to get started on your own journey as well. I love you guys, and I'm excited for this month, and I will see you next week. Bye.